kind of burned out of Destiny 2 and Destiny 2 community that I like at this point is like, just shut it down, shut it all down. I used to be a Destiny 2 player. I'm completely burned out by that game. Destiny 2 is dead. Bungie announced end of life service after massive decline. I'm not surprised at all. A lot of people also left Destiny 2 because of the massive burnout and all the DLC. And then next DLC, your previous one is just not viable anymore and you have to buy a new one. I just don't care anymore.
Wow. I mean, what is there to say? I think this could have been avoided. I think this is ultimately not a triumphant end, but a bit of an...
Yes, this could have 100% been avoided. They just didn't want to avoid it.
Yeah, they didn't.
An unceremonious end that is coming in with a whimper. And generally, I'm just a little concerned about where...
Did you guys see people use Marathon as an insult now? So if you don't like someone, you tell them, just go play Marathon.
Based.
I think it's so funny.
Bungie is headed with this development. Destiny 2 is ending as a live service. It will remain online in the sense that the game is going to be accessible in the same way that Destiny 1 is. But, you know, with no new content, a live service is as good as dead. And this was announced on the official Destiny Twitter page. This is the full statement that was issued. Quote, "For almost 12 years, we have had the joy and honor to explore the Destiny universe with you all. Through all the ups and downs, surprises and triumphs, building Destiny alongside our players has been a monumental privilege. While our love for Destiny 2 has not changed, it has become clear that after the final shape, we have reached the time for our shared world and Destiny to live beyond Destiny 2. As our focus turns towards a new beginning for Bungie, we will begin work incubating our next games. To that end, on June 9th, 2026, we will release the final live service content update for Destiny."
They're not shutting down. They got investment into new games. What? Who would do that? Who would give them more money?
To begin that new journey as a studio. Though active development may be concluding, we will ensure that Destiny 2 remains playable, just as the original Destiny is today. Many changes in this final update will aim to ensure Destiny 2 is a welcoming place for players to return to. We are proud of Destiny 2, the places it took us, and the legacy it has created. Because of you all, our universe is vast, built on years of shared stories, adventures, and victories. From the Cosmodrome to the Pale Heart to the Lawless Frontier, we have forged lifelong memories and friendships with you all. We are incredibly grateful.
Well, but the reality is, Destiny 2, it didn't even need to die. They killed it themselves. People adore Destiny 2. It was always like, oh, are you a faction Destiny 2 or are you faction Marathon? And there was plenty and enough people to go around for like both games.
Yeah.
It's just like Bungie themselves, they kind of kicked their own player base out. So like this is okay, so this is like heartbreaking, especially like what was the name of the NPC?
Oh, I forgot his name. Zavala?
Yeah,
right?
Especially like saying goodbye to Zavala. It's rough, man. It is actually kind of rough.
I think it was Zavala. Yeah, his name Zavala. It was played by Lance Reddick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was in John Wick as well.
Yeah.
And he loved Destiny.
So like saying like bye to like that NPC is like heart-wrenching.
I just hope they add everything back in.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how they do it because it feels like everything's spaghetti code there now. But if they can, I might come back.
To
Make a new
what?
character, see Destiny.
Destiny 2 is gonna be gone.
No, they just stopped development. It's like Back 4 Blood. You still have servers up.
But we'll see about that. I wouldn't hold my breath.
To everyone who made that journey with us from the deepest part of our hearts, thank you, and we'll see you in the stars. So they obviously try to paint a very optimistic outlook to all this. They ultimately try to present this as a new beginning. They hint at some projects in the incubation process. We don't know if it's Destiny related or not. And all the while, they're trying to focus on upping Marathon's numbers, as that is a live service that is currently flailing. This is definitely not how things are supposed to go. They, I think, definitely had plans to continue Destiny 2. They definitely had plans for additional expansions and content additions and whatnot. But as numbers continued to flail, as content additions after the final shape just didn't ultimately resonate with players, and as the live service declined, this was the choice they had to make, especially as resources.
There's also a lot of people that left because of the moderation team Destiny 2 has hired. Not Destiny 2, Bungie has hired. There's a lot of points of contempt player base had with it. It's not even the game. The game is actually what people enjoyed. It's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Gameplay aspect wise, but like the DLCs, the constant money grab, the constant zero moderation, and it just, yeah, it was really annoying.
And manpower have been pulled away.
And like it was one of those games that actually it needs you to regularly log in all the time. That was, maybe for a lot of people it's not a big deal. It was a little frustrating for me, like having to constantly also like grind for new exotics and then spec them and all that stuff. That was exhausting.
Isn't that just typical MMORPG behavior though?
No, in MMORPGs you don't have to do it with this frequency.
Okay.
Yeah.
From Destiny 2 in order to essentially develop Marathon and to flesh out that live service. It seemed as though in the present day, Bungie is betting on Marathon being able to make a comeback through whatever overhauls and updates and just additions of modes and whatnot they might have in store for us. But yeah, I mean, looking at the Steam charts numbers, it should come as no surprise that this was where Destiny 2 was ultimately meant to go, with lots of great peaks during its golden era. And then after the final shape, the decline was pretty steep, and it never ultimately spiked again. It never ultimately recovered, with 24-hour peaks of low 10,000 players. And this is a story that's obviously going viral. Destiny is, in many ways, like the originator of the current live service model, and in many ways, the original.
I don't think that's accurate, Destiny being the originator of live service model.
No, they're not. Nope. I believe, when did Destiny...
I'm just fact checking as well.
Yeah, Destiny 1 was, Destiny was not the originator of live service game.
Yeah, it was RuneScape and World of Warcraft. Yeah.
I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah, no.
I disagree with him.
It was like early 2000 RuneScape and World of Warcraft. Maybe he's probably saying that for shock value, but it's just like, don't do that just to add. RuneScape was before everything. Wasn't RuneScape at the beginning in the browser as well? Or is it still in browser? I think he's talking about consoles. Then he should have added that and not make a blanket statement. Let's stop making excuses for people. How about that?
Yeah, he said what he said. We can't like, be a benefit of the doubt for him. He's giving news now, so
yeah,
he has to do his own research and such. Okay, there's a delay. Okay, just play the video.
Of the looter shooter aspect of live services. Obviously, Borderlands did looter shooter, but Destiny was that next frontier.
No, it was just also not the same. It was to me, it's still so crazy. It's people thinking Destiny is what started it. Yeah, even Warframe did that before Destiny, like by year. So like even between those two, you cannot even like compare. Like it's just factual, not true. You cannot credit Destiny with ruining games even.
They turned that concept into this vast shared world live service experience. And for this to come to an end, it's making ripples across the web, with Paul Tassi among the biggest reporters on Bungie related.
Stop crediting Paul Tassi with stuff. I'm starting to think that every time we like watch YongYea, we are reminded with the existence of Paul Tassi.
Yeah.
News talking about this and straight up highlighting how all expansions are canceled. There's no more content updates after this last one. It's over, and this is garnering millions of views, tens of thousands of likes, just lots of interactions. He continues with, there will be a number of changes and additions to the game with the next update, not delayed, but functionality of the game will be static from here. an awful ending for a game and series that deserved a more coherent, thoughtful conclusion and investment in the IP's future. And the thing is, I don't know if there are plans for a Destiny 3, but if there are, it would just be right now starting the conceptual.
But that's so depressing, like Destiny 1, then Destiny 2, then Destiny 3, and they'll just repeat the cycle.
Yeah. It's just going to be a cycle all over again.
Yeah, it's like, at this point, what's the point?
Just let it die.
Either let it die or, like, I don't know. Like, there isn't even a lot of things they have to do for Destiny 2 to bring the audience back. Hire new moderation teams, stop pushing a lot of the microtransactions. People will start coming back.
I think they're a little too far gone. Like, I don't think they're able to.
It's better than making a whole new game from scratch and doing the same thing again.
Well, let's see how it goes. I doubt they'll make Destiny 3 because I feel like this is just they're done. It's gone. They lost a lot of goodwill.
Oh, they did. They definitely did.
Phase, you know what I mean? Because Marathon became their next big project after Destiny 2. Destiny 3 is not something that has been a focus for Bungie.
How's Marathon doing anyways? I haven't checked up on them in a hot minute. I haven't even opened the game since we reviewed it. It's the same numbers as Destiny. It's the same number. That is not really good. Like, this is not.
Yeah, it's gone, guys.
Yeah.
Can we just shut down Bungie at this point? Like,
I think they need a huge reshuffling, actually. Yeah.
They're gone. Like, the original creators are probably gone by now, no?
Oh, yeah. No. That for sure. By original creators, you mean the artists they stole from? Yeah.
Talking about the people who did the lore and everything.
Honey, that was a joke.
I know.
Paul Tassi had the following take to give when it comes to this whole.
People said that Destiny died so Marathon could die. Destiny was dying a long time before that as well.
Yeah.
Development saying that Destiny 2 probably should have ended with Final Shape, with Destiny 3 already incubating. But alas, Marathon ultimately siphoned a ton of resources, and there's no disputing that. And yeah, there's been reports out there that a lot of developers have moved on from Destiny 2 and are fully focused on Marathon. And a lot of hot takes online. Obviously, there's already a topic that is going viral, despite the fact that as of the recording of this video, this announcement was made 2 hours ago. And I mean, this blog post, almost 10 million views. And just lots of discussions surrounding.
It is huge news. Like Destiny 2 being kind of discontinued, it is huge gaming news. End of an era. It is. It really is. Pete Peterson sold the company to Sony for $3 million. It is actually worth. Got his money and then dipped. Hustler of the century. More like a scam artist.
That guy, oh god, so bad.
He's a scam artist, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
What ultimately people are perceiving to be rather whimper and sad end to a franchise and a game that many felt deserved a better ending, something that felt more intentional, and something that felt like a true send-off rather than what ultimately feels like this abrupt end that feels more reactionary than something that was genuinely planned. And so, yeah, lots of people saying it's a sad end to a franchise loved by millions, but one that has been in severe decline in recent years. And all the while, looking at numbers for a Marathon, I'm not particularly enthused or encouraged about where Bungie is headed in the future. They're going to have to pull quite the rabbit out of the hat to make Marathon just such an overhauled experience. Or
like, out of all this, I'm still the most shocking part for me is that it, like, the Bungie, the studio is not being shut down. I think that is the shocking part to me. I would have expected Bungie completely being shut down rather than just one game.
Or with
to be fair,
so many
Sony paid big money for them.
Yeah, true.
Additional content that is appealing.
But we saw Sony shut down studios for less.
Yeah, that's fair.
To the masses, that is able to hype people up again, that it's able to make a severe comeback. Because when you look at the numbers for Marathon right now, I mean, 24-hour peaks of 10,000, low 10,000 players. I mean, this number, I've seen it go down week after week after week, and you can see the chart itself. The trend is downwards week after week after week. I mean, these are numbers that are straight up in line with Destiny 2's own 24-hour peaks. They're both kind of on the same level when it comes to the engagement and overall player base that it's bringing in. So
it's everything combined. It's Destiny 2 fatigue, it's Marathon fatigue, it's Bungie fatigue, and on top of it all, it's Sony fatigue.
Yep.
People are just tired of that.
So Marathon is certainly not a successful live service. And I mean, things are bad enough with Marathon that despite it being the shiny new Bungie game on consoles, it's actually dramatically underperforming, and it's also making less money than Destiny 2 is, with Bungie sales highlighting how Destiny 2 is making more money on consoles currently than Marathon is,
I'm not
despite it
surprised.
being like a decade-old game. And Destiny 2 is not in a good place. I mean, clearly, given that the live service has ended. So what does that say about Marathon when the new Bungie game is performing worse than the game that they recently had to shut down because it wasn't making enough money? If Marathon cannot come back from this slump, that raises a lot of questions about what's in store for Bungie and what Sony and PlayStation will do with this studio that...
Oh, that's what people are already thinking. I don't think people are waiting for Marathon to collab because Marathon never took off to collab. People are already waiting when Bungie is gonna get shut down.
Yeah.
So it's right now we're just prolonging the inevitable. Like we see the numbers. So when is it gonna happen?
They invested $3.6 billion on top of the fact that Marathon itself allegedly had a budget of roughly like over $250 million.
I believe it. I believe that Marathon had a huge budget.
A budget that only grows as time passes due to the fact that live services require recurrent expenditures in order to maintain, and with the game not selling all that well, and with the microtransactions and monetization systems not being, top-notch and, not inspiring confidence that this game is recurrently making a lot of money through its monetization schemes. This all puts Bungie in an incredibly precarious position. The only hope that we can see ahead is the fact that they hint at multiple games currently incubating and kind of cooking behind the scenes, likely in the early stages, with Marathon being their flagship until those games are announced and revealed and, come out. I think the path ahead is pretty clear. I think Bungie has to make Destiny 3, or maybe they make a new IP. Whatever these next games might be, one of them at least has to play to Bungie's strengths, not just in terms of how excellent they are.
What would be a good game for Destiny to make? I'm thinking.
Bungie to make?
I'm trying to think. So the recent years they had only live action, right? Not live action. Live service. Sorry.
I don't know, man. I feel like they need to go back to the drawing boards and just not make another game for half a decade.
Maybe like an actual story single player marathon game.
Yeah, that might work, but they kind of ruined their reputation with Marathon already too.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
So I feel like they need to go back to the drawing board. I don't know, just become an outsourced company for a few years to recoup what they lost, because they're not the same developers, guys. These are probably new developers or like semi-professional developers. They got to level up their game first.
Halo is not Halo hasn't been under Bungie in years.
Yeah, they're under 343 or whatever it is.
Trying to remember.
If
they go back to working on Oni, would that do anything?
No, I don't think so. I feel like they either need to let Sony take over fully this time, like actually fully to have some time for them to retrain their developers. It all comes down to having a skill issue.
But at the same time, like, people are very tired of Sony with the shit they're pulling right now.
But this is like the best course of action, even if people are hating Sony right now.
I genuinely actually think Bungie might heavily benefit from single player games right now. Basically, going back to basics. That would heavily benefit them to understand first how to write a good story.
Are at the first person shooter genre and the mechanics surrounding it. But, what Destiny 2 did in terms of having basically just a density of content that could appeal to a wide variety of people while feeling, vast and epic, with the storytelling being there, with the variety of gameplay modes being there, the variety of activities, so on and so forth, and all of it feeling like there's like this epic through line. That is what Bungie has to kind of stick to. Marathon almost feels like, like a piece of a full Bungie experience. It feels like one mode that, could have been just a piece of a much bigger pie. So Marathon ultimately ended up appealing to a very niche group of people who, are enjoying Marathon for what it is, but given its hardcore nature as an extraction shooter, one whose onboarding.
I saw what those people do when they try to promote return to form. This is why I'm not saying you return to form. There's no such thing as return to form. That's why I'm saying return to basics. Go back to what they originally were trying to do. Learn how to write again. Learn how to create a world again. This is not return to form. This is strip everything down, cut the bullshit, and just start from zero. That's not return to form.
It's returning to the basics, fundamentals of what makes a game and what makes it good.
Because for Bungie, return to form is gonna be going back to Destiny 2 and milking DLCs. That's when they were the most successful and brought in the most money, just milking it.
Is very poor, one with an incredibly steep learning curve, and one that faces a lot more competition in this day and age of live services where that market is far more saturated. It was always going to be an uphill battle for Marathon. And I think what Bungie ultimately has to do is go back to their roots and what they're best at and deliver the thing that fans of Bungie really, really want. That really feels like the only path forward.
Yeah, people really, really wanted an original Marathon thing, not whatever we got. And we didn't get it. And now they're Pikachu surprised, like, oh, cannot believe they don't like the thing they didn't want.
It really feels like what Sony and PlayStation will ultimately mandate. They have to get a return on the massive investment that they made on Bungie. And I have little doubt that they're going to try to play it safe because it's what fans want, and Destiny is a known quantity, and a Destiny 3.
Even with OG Bungie, they couldn't even do the basic, remember Destiny 2, Destiny 1 storytelling. Destiny 1 storytelling, it might have not been good, but it was memorable enough for people to stick around. It might have been not the best writing, but it made people stick around.
I don't even remember Destiny 1.
Would generate a lot of hype, would draw in a lot of players if they execute it right. Or if there's a new IP that can be in the vein of something like Destiny, an experience like that, that, captures what Bungie is known for, then, maybe that could thrive. But if
what exactly is Bungie known for right now, though? Like, when you say Bungie, all people say is Destiny. So for Bungie, it's synonymous. You say Bungie, you think about Destiny. When you think about Destiny, you think about all the drama that happened.
It feels like the safest bet is to stick with, a full-fledged new Destiny game. But the caveat to that is that creating Destiny 3 would be a massive investment. And with existing investments like Marathon not paying off, Sony would still be taking a big risk with the level of investment that they'd have to put into this new game that would have to be, as epic, if not more so.
When I hear Bungie, I hear Halo. I never had that association. I always looked at Halo is Halo, not Bungie.
Than Destiny 2. And then another factor is time. How long would Destiny 3 take to develop, especially given that if there is a Destiny 3 in development, it probably only just started development, and all the while Marathon is struggling, and so Bungie's not really monetizing very well throughout the years in which they're working on all this other stuff. So, can Bungie weather this storm, and can Sony justify the financial losses that Bungie is incurring? And so all around, Bungie is just between a rock and a hard place right now. And the shutdown of Destiny 2, I think, bodes ill for where the studio is currently at. I still think there are some avenues that they can pursue. I don't think Bungie is going to get shut down anytime soon, per se. I do think Sony and PlayStation are going to want to give Bungie, one more project after Marathon. But if that project...
No.
This is going to be just like more like a theory of prediction. Sony is about to embark on a lot of struggles on their own with how they're trying to revert back with not wanting their games be supported or pushed on PC again. So Sony about to have a struggle bus, at least the gaming division. And with them going on to a struggle bus, why would they bother to try to keep Bungie on life support? I think there's like a lot of pain towards Bungie incoming. By pain, I mean being shut down.
There was no justification to leave Marathon up and close Destiny.
Yeah.
That move did not make sense to me at all. Like, wouldn't it be the other way around? Like, they'd shut down Marathon so they can allocate resources back to Destiny 2, and then, you know, work on the game officially and do a public apology to their fans and try to, I don't know, revert a lot of their changes that really screwed over Destiny player base.
Mm.
But I don't know. This kind of feels like a stupid move on both parts.
Gamers are.
Sony and Bungie.
Mm.
Like this is a dumb thing to do.
Yeah. Gamers are fickle. We will flock to the best games always, regardless of hype or fake 10 out of 10s. The awesome games always rise. Gamers are not fickle. We will play anything as long as it's fun. The fake 10 out of 10s, those games are not fun. That's why we didn't play. But that's a handful of games. Gamers are not fickle whatsoever. That's why it's so bewildering to me when like people are complaining about, oh, gamers are so hard to please. No, we're not. We're the easiest guys to please. So it's like, I never understood that. The sheer amount of like dumb games I find enjoyable is just crazy. Y'all saw the mixtape review? Of course we did. Sony at 30 DRM pissed me off for fuck's sake. Sony is run by morons. Kinda. Of course we will play anything, but how many games do we have thousands of hours in? For me, quite a bit, but I cannot speak for everyone.
Does end up doing well, then like the numbers on a corporate level just don't justify the existence of Bungie, and it could spell a lot of trouble for a studio that was purchased by Sony and PlayStation during their decline, and while they were developing a much more niche live service in a much more competitive market than it was when Destiny 2 had launched, and in a much more niche genre. So, but yeah, it didn't have to be like this, and ultimately there's clearly much more love and nostalgia for Destiny than for Marathon. And so while this isn't necessarily like the most shocking development, it still hits that it actually happened because of just what a freaking institution Destiny was in gaming history for the last decade. You know what I mean?
It was, and it was so beloved, but they pooped it all away.
Guys, Lifu playing PUBG is demon time. If she ever decides to go back to PUBG, guys, she's a different person.
To see its end when, you know, once upon a time, this felt like a game that could go on for decades. It's just kind of strange to live in the reality of a world where Destiny 2 as a live service is kind of no more. I wish them the best, you know. It is a very talented team with all said and done through the ups and downs. You know, they're masters of their craft, and hopefully that mastery will be used in projects that just better represent what their talents can best achieve, the kinds of experiences that they can deliver. I don't think, while Marathon isn't a bad game, it just isn't the DNA of Bungie. I think a lot of people will agree on that. Even if it's good in its own right as an extraction shooter that a niche audience enjoys, I think Bungie's true soul ultimately lies elsewhere with a different kind of project than Marathon. But that's one man's take, folks. I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on...
As much as, like, even if it sounds harsh, I think Bungie needs to shut down. I had a lot of fun with Destiny 2 specifically, but I don't think the company has any value.
It doesn't.
Like, besides, like, the memories of specific IP. I don't see a point keeping it on life support.